Hey folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So last time we did our little mock-ups with some ram board here on the lower part of the firewall, cowl section, trans tunnel, whatever you want to call it. This morning I've gotten out here and started cutting panels out, you know, try to get them. I cut them just a shade bigger than the cardboard ram board pieces, just to give me a little extra wiggle room. It's always easier to take material off than it is to add it back on. So went ahead and got these guys cut out, just, you know, rough shapes, nothing crazy. So I've got to put curves on all this stuff. I don't have the correct equipment for all that. I don't have a lot of stuff. So in order to do that, I went hunting around, looking around. You know, I've seen, you know, Mordsky. I like watching him. And one of his older videos, he was talking about his English stump, basically just a stump, you know, fairly good size around, with a dish cut out in the middle of it, and could lay your metal in there, beat it into a, you know, to a roundish shape, and then, you know, work the dents out, smooth it out, make it nice and neat. I don't have any stumps. I don't even have a chainsaw. I think I got rid of my chainsaw years ago because I have no trees where I live. So now I'm like, okay, what am I going to use to try to make this curve? You know, this is, I think 18 gauge is what I'm using here. So, you know, it's not super thin. It's not super flimsy. It's got a little ridginess to it. I did remember that I set up an old brake drum, off a dump truck of all things, as a little fire pit type thing. Actually, I used this back in the Scouts when my son was in Scouts and I was a scout leader. We were at winter camp and I saw a guy had built one of these. It was awesome. Basically some rebar, you know, welded onto the bottom. Yeah, I know it's cast. They're not on there super good. This was back when I think it was back when I had my really crappy welder that didn't really do very good. And I was just getting started, so I didn't know a whole lot about it. But the bottom has stuck on pretty good. But I actually used to have two, the bottom, and then I had another one that sat on top of it. And I had a little stovepipe off of it and everything. You could load this thing up. It would get so hot. I mean, it was ridiculous how much heat this thing would put out and maintain. It was a great little stove. But I got rid of the top piece. I forget what I did with it. But the bottom piece I still have. I use it as kind of like a little fire pit, you know, if we want to burn some stuff or whatever. I was looking at that going, that is about, not quite, but about the right width. It's definitely hard enough for me to beat on. But if we take, that thing weighs a significant amount. But if we take this and just kind of lay it over, yeah, it's not quite right, but it's close enough. Closer than anything else I got. And like I said, it's definitely sturdy enough for me to be able to beat on it and not worry about, you know, breaking it or denting it or whatever. So, and I'm not going to beat on it that hard because I'm just, you know, bending some sheet metal into place. But, you know, that ought to work, I think. I hope. But that's kind of where my head's at this morning. So I'm going to probably get over there here in just a few minutes. Once I catch my breath from carrying that big son of a bitch in. Like, I don't know how much that thing weighs, but it ain't light. But I'll probably go ahead and start beating on that thing here in just a minute. So let me work on that, and then I'll catch back up with you guys here in just a few minutes. This is not doing what I'd hoped either. All right, maybe I was overthinking that. I don't know. This one didn't need a ton of bend to it, this guy. So I was sitting here, just walked away, thought about it for a few minutes, and then just pretty simple. Took a little piece of 1x, yeah. And basically set this guy down, clamped him, and then slid this up about where I want the bend to be. I got this nylon hammer. I think my brother made this in shop class, in high school, and just a little mini sledge, and just gave it a couple whacks and got pretty close to what I'm looking for. I would set it in there to show you. Well, maybe I can. It really requires more than just one hand. But we set him in kind of where he needs to go. You can see it follows that curve pretty well. The only problem that we run into is down here at this corner. This bottom little corner right here, it needs to flare out just a touch. But once I get it all tacked in, that part I can just flare and do on the truck. So I think patch side's pretty good. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of little dings in it. Maybe I can go through and do something with the hammer and dolly, try to smooth that out a little bit. But yeah, we'll call that one good enough for now. The center one, yeah, that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because that's definitely more of a bend to it. So I don't know, maybe we'll try the same thing. Alrighty, well, kind of doing the same thing with my centerpiece here. Although I'm not going to use this guy because I don't want it lumpy and have to do a bunch of body work like I'm going to have to do on that guy, or remake it and then do this again. So I got this nice, what is this, 1/2 inch, 3/4, 1, I don't know. Nice piece of steel stock here. And I can take it, and get my wood set. And I can just take this fella right here, I believe, and just roll and put some pressure down. Maybe that'll give me a little bit of a bend. I'll just push this guy on out a little bit and rinse and repeat. Again, not a metal guy, or not a master metal worker. Just a dude in the shop trying to figure it out. But at least this way I'm not beating up the metal. And who knows, this may not work worth a damn. I may have to go back to beating up the metal. We'll see. Hey, there's a little bit of a curve to it. Definitely not nearly enough, but there's something there. Maybe I can use the hammer and persuade a little bit with some gentle blows. With this, maybe. I should really have my earplugs in. That is quite loud. Yeah, there's a little bow to it. All right, let me, now that I got a little bit of a bow, let's see if I can't go up in size on this guy and try to push the rest. I need a taller rod. I think I got one, hang on. Piece of Jackson's old trampoline. Getting there. Here's my template from before. Still got a ways to go. All right, I got a piece of 3-inch exhaust over there I could use. Oh yeah, and I just bent the shit out of it, but that's all right. Definitely more bend than what I needed. Got a little aggressive. All right, so we're past where we need to be. I think it's the second time I've used this stuff for bending metal. So we're out a little further than we need to be. Let's So should be able to just push this back down. That should be close enough. It's got a couple lines in it where it kinked on me a little bit. But maybe we can work those back out. I don't know. Let me go set this up on the truck and see how it's looking. Close enough. I can get that in and then just push it out as I go to, you know, welding. Plus, whenever I get these little bends cut out of it, maybe that'll be a little bit, or knocked out of it, maybe that'll be a little bit better. I got 3 good ones, maybe 4. This guy. This one ought to be fun. Let me go look and see what I need to do here. That one could probably pretty much stay straight. It's going to have a bend right here. I think I'd rather get at least the centerpiece in, so I can tack this side on, and then I can do some marks and figure out where I need to bend, because I got to do a bend out and then another bend back. So this one may get a little bit more fun down the road, but I think I'm gonna wait on this guy doing anything with him. All right, let me get a hammer and dolly, see if I can't knock some of these bends out of this. Doesn't really have creases in it anymore, so that's nice. I did get a little squirrely. When I first started doing this, I didn't have the this guy secured, so it was just kind of floating around on the table. So then I put a couple screws in it and put a couple reference marks here so I can kind of keep up with where my center is, and you know, be able to drag it and go. But with this guy not being, you know, fixed, it kind of wandered on me a few times. And this is the first line I did, so I got kind of a, I guess I stretched it a little bit in the center. It's got a little too much hammer right here in the center, so it's got a little divot to it. It's not horrible. The rest of it looks pretty good. It's just that one spot is looking a little rough, but that's okay. We'll say it's custom. That's for clearance. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. All right, so maybe I can clean this guy up a little bit since it's just beat all to hell. So I guess I'm going to do that, and then I'll cut the camera back on here in just a little bit. So I went ahead and got this passenger side kind of just tacked. At first I just had it tacked in, then I was like, let me go ahead and throw some spots in here, because it's got a couple little, you know, it's got a bend that way, and it also kind of goes down, and it has kind of a downward bend to it and dishes in. So I want to go ahead and get this all kind of filled in and done, so because that's where most of that bend's going to be. Most of that stress is going to be right in this neighborhood. So got that done. Rest of it looks to be good. I will have to make another little patch for right in here, just because I'm about a 1/4 inch off the bar right here, but that's my mistake, because I was going by the bar instead of by the sheet metal. I should have been going by the sheet metal, but I was going by the bar. So there's I gotta make another teeny tiny little patch right in here. Not that big a deal, but yeah, that one's kind of in there. I do need to trim this edge down just a little bit. It overlaps just a touch, so I got to get that knocked down. Seems to be moving along. Not the best thing in the world. It's not as nice as I'd hoped it would be, but you know, I can only do so much. Before I go cutting that, I probably ought to go ahead and get this bottom sunk in where it needs to go, so that way, because that's going to pull. No, it's probably going to push that out. that's probably gonna push that edge out. As I push down on that, it's gonna go whoop. So yeah, that makes sense. So I probably ought to get that down where it needs to live, and then that way I can get a good cut for here. Yeah, moving right along. Like I said, figuring it out as I go. All right, so got this guy trimmed up good. He's pretty well ready to go for now. Got the centerpiece kind of just in there. It's not quite where it needs to be, but since there's nothing for me to really attach this to, I'll go ahead and just tack it in across the top a few spots, and that way it'll stay there and I can monkey with the rest of it. Moving right along, getting things done. So now I can drop these bottom off because I need to get way up here to get that guy into shape. I don't know if I'm going to have enough muscle to get that done. I may have to trim some of this off just to get there. I think I'm going to have to. Because the way that, the way this trans tunnel, God, man, my knees are getting beat up. The way this trans tunnel does, it comes up, so it's actually, bottom of the trans tunnel is about right here. And it kind of slopes, you know, both directions. So I need to kind of trim this guy out a little bit, just so I can get some clamps on there and clamp him in. And that way he'll kind of hold his form. And we'll see if, we'll see how close we are once everything gets kind of in there. Because it would be really nice to be able to get the centerpiece just fully tacked in, even on the bottom. It'd be really nice to get it tacked in, just to have it done. And then all I have to do is worry about my sides, get that done, and then I can build the upper cowl section, which I'm still not 100% sure how I want to do that just yet. Now I did have a little boo-boo here, because this is a really steep little spot right there, and it caved it in. That's okay. We'll get her fixed up. All right, well, that guy's in there. Maybe not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's met up to the toe board. I still got this little spot here. I may end up having to put a relief cut in that. I'm almost positive I'm going to have to put a relief cut, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get that metal to go where I want it to go without cutting it. Because like I said, that's a hard little angle right there, and there's just nowhere for the metal to go, so it's going to bend and go in. So my thinking is I'll go ahead and put a little relief cut like right here. That'll let this come on out, and then I can fold this back up behind it, or grind it off to where it kind of meets up. It's kind of where I'm at on that. But hey, look, more firewall. All right, things look a little different now. So what I have done is I did cut that relief. Of course, I think you saw that one. Cut the relief in the centerpiece. This back part's still kind of wanting to go behind. I may end up just having to flex it out and tack it under tension. Thought about maybe heating it up a little bit right in through here, and that might allow it to relax a little bit and come on out. I don't know. I'm going to work on that another day or another time, because I'm not doing that right now. But I figured I'd go ahead and move on to the driver's side transmission tunnel piece. So I've got one Cleco holding it in at the bottom. Made a relief cut down there because it's got a flat spot on that toe board. And then from there it bends in and goes straight. Actually, it kind of goes and then bends back out again. So I did mark a line from here down to that spot. So I think I'm going to cut. Maybe not completely cut, but at least grind me a little channel out to make it a little bit more flexible. And flex that to where it'll kind of hug that piece. Then I can get that Clecoed in to where it's sitting up against the toe board again. And then from there, I can figure out where I need to make my next relief cut, or, you know, grind a little bit of material out to let it to flex a little bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do here, is just take that line and give it a little not a cut, but just, you know, grind it down a little bit with the cutoff wheel. That way it's got a little relief in it. It'll want to bend a little bit and give it a little flex, see how it does. If that flexes out and does what I think it'll do, then that'll make the rest of it a little bit easier to monkey with. So it's kind of where we're at right now. So just a lot of thinking and doing and moving. And is this going to work? No. Let me try this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Yeah, it's just a whole lot of that. So I'll be back. You can see I cut just a relief in here, and that did exactly what I was wanting it to do. So it's laying in there. I ended up welding a little tab on behind here so I can put a Cleco on there to keep that in. So I got the bottom held in, I got the top held in. So this is about where this guy's going to live. So there's still some work to do. That's a really complicated piece. There's so much going on with that one. The rest of these are kind of super easy. That one's not. So it, let's see, toe board flat till about right here, and then it starts angling out that way. So I think I'm going to have to put another relief cut up to here, you know, come on up, maybe even meet this with another relief cut. That'll allow me to get this to bend down and let this guy sit in there and actually, you know, get where he needs to go. Golly. There's a lot going on there. Probably ought to cut that into like 4 or 5 different pieces, but I really don't want to. So if I can do relief cuts and get it to bend how I need it to bend and go where I need it to go, I am totally cool with that. So basically that's all I'm doing is just a little bit at a time, working that one from the center out, because I can always adjust things on the outside edge as opposed to in the center. So working that one out, trying to see where I can go with that. It's definitely challenging. Makes you really think. All right, well, been a pretty productive day today, but here's where we're at. A little closer in on here. So, you know, I did a couple relief cuts in order to get these angles going just right here on this driver's side. There's still a little bit to do right here off of this corner because it needs to flatten out and meet up here. So I'll probably when I pull this back off, make another little relief cut up here so I can fold that on in. This up here should flex in. I'll have to shave it down just a little bit right here, but that should fit right on in there, and then that can be one piece basically. Yeah, just a little bit of work left to do there, but I'm actually really satisfied with this. I'm hoping that this little bump out doesn't create some problems. Worst case, I could always cut the bump out and flip it and have it sunk back in and, you know, redo this. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. My fear is that since this isn't exactly like the factory firewall, that I might run into some clearance issues. I did find, luckily, I guess it was yesterday, I was farting around on Facebook last night and stumbled across a guy who just got done repairing his firewall, and I think it was a 73 or 74. So he was just repairing the firewall. He had some rot up here, and but the most of his firewall was in pretty good shape, his factory firewall. And yeah, down here at the bottom on the toe board, it actually does. This goes back and sets inboard of the toe board, and then juts out and then comes down. Mine's not going to do that because, well, I ain't that talented. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass, but we'll see. I don't think it will, because the toe board is going to be your furthest in, your narrowest spot. So it might be a little tight. Well, no, because that's where the transmission tunnel sits. Maybe it makes it a little bit more difficult to get. It might make it a little bit more difficult getting the bell housing bolts, cranked down and done. I plan on putting the motor and the trans in at the same time. Down the road, I might have to pull the motor. I might have to pull the trans, whatever. It ain't real hard to pull the front clip off of these trucks, so it's just say, screw it, pull the front clip off, pull the motor and trans out together. I don't know. We'll see. That we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited that we've got somewhere moving along, and doesn't look terrible. It kind of looks like trash right now, but that's just because everything's kind of loose and, you know, just tacked in parts and not tacked in other parts and clear-coating parts. And yeah, if I had to go back and do it again, I probably would have gone ahead and put tabs on the bar that goes up here. Just go ahead and put a tab along it, and you know, also do the down here on the toe board like I did here in the centerpiece and this right piece. But I would have gone ahead and just welded up some tabs to it. That way I could Cleco it in, get everything fitted and aligned, ready to go, and then do the tack welding and stuff. But you know, you live, you learn. So I think I'm going to close up shop for the night. My back is screaming from leaning over the front end of this truck. Tomorrow, hopefully, my I ordered one of those little belt sanders that attach to your grinder, so I can get in here and actually clean up these welds back inside the cowl. And once I get those welds cleaned up, then I can go ahead and get inside the cowl done, as far as getting everything ground, everything cleaned. I can go ahead and shoot some paint on it. That way it's painted. I can put some seam seal in there. That way the seam seal's in, especially on some of the spots where I'm not going to be able to get back to it. So I can start actually putting this thing together. And then once I get all that done, cleaned up on the cowl, then I can start building this upper cowl section right here and get that all going. Figure out what we're going to do there. I think I did do some drawing the other day, and this is kind of where I'm at. This will be the upper cowl section, kind of coming back. This may adjust a little bit. This may come out a little bit further. That might come out a little further. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking if I can go this way, these pieces will be a little bit easier to bend potentially. And then this guy, it won't have so much strain trying to make the two different bends on it, being that it's going to be, you know, narrower down here and wider up at the top. So kind of what my thinking is. I may be off on that, but we'll find out. So, all right, I'm gonna head inside, get some dinner and a shower, and I'll be back out here tomorrow. All right, folks, I, in fact, did not come out here the next day. We're now, I think, a week. I don't know, I lose track of time sometimes. Week, maybe two. It's been a minute since I've been out here messing with these with the firewall on Steve. You can kind of see we've got a little bit of flash rust kind of built up now. Yay. That happens. Not so much here in the shop though. I don't know. It's been raining a little bit, so that may be where we got some moisture. But it doesn't matter. That stuff will scuff right off. It's not a problem. But I think I'm going to cut this video right here, just because after I edited after I went through and got it edited, yeah, I was just like, okay, this one's long enough. It's a good stopping point. I actually have not done anything else to this. So probably what I'll end up doing is, next time I come out, I'll come over here and clean up this edge right here and get that kind of folded back where it needs to be. And then we'll get started on doing this upper cowl section. Yay. So, that's kind of where my head's at. I did, holler at one of my buddies at work, and, well, I got me a log. Heck yeah. You know, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood. You know, everybody ought to get a log, because, you know, they're better than bad. They're good. Ren and Stimpy fans know exactly what I'm saying. So, it may not be exactly the right log for it. He told me it's ash, so it's a real hardwood. I haven't done anything with it. Like I said, I got to get it outside. I got to cut some bowl shape into it, and then can get to it with that guy. So that's kind of where we're at. But I do appreciate y'all guys watching. If y'all guys liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe. Do something. Got any questions, comments, concerns? Be sure and leave those down below. If you've got a way of doing something different that might be better, you know, whatever, throw it down there in the comments. I'll read through them all. If y'all guys want to follow me on social media, that information is listed down in the description. And I think that's it. So anywho, I guess we'll see y'all guys next time. And just remember, folks, it ain't got to be perfect. Just good enough. Sometimes good enough is, well, you know, good enough. So y'all take it easy.